And hello, everyone, and welcome back to HHWShow Podcast. Special guest here, returning. Zeda Zhang is with us. All right, and it's brought to you by Clovercrest Media. Visit clovercrestmedia.com to know more about the media itself and other podcasts. But today is very special, and I personally wanted her back. So thank you, Zeda Zhang, for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Nice to be back. Good to
And
see
it's also nice to hear that you posted on Instagram where I found out that you are going to be in AEW
you.
tonight.
Yes, definitely.
I'm so excited. How do you feel?
I'm excited. It's really nice. My whole goal to come out to Florida was I need to go on AEW, and I'm so glad I have that opportunity. Hopefully, I'll have more opportunities in the future. We'll see, but make sure to cheer me on. Make sure to tag them, tag everyone. Cody, like freaking Brandy, Tony, freaking Sean Dean, the captain. Like, let them know you want to see Zeta Zhang on AEW as a regular.
All
Stop.
right. Zeta Zane versus Thunder Rose tonight at 7 o'clock Eastern Time, 6 o'clock Central. It's on YouTube. I'm excited. All right. And I have followed you. Well, I still do follow you. Um, but 2 years ago, you were on the show. And then, like, for the foremost, your family, they're doing well, right?
Uh,
Everybody's doing okay?
who
Your
is it?
family?
Yeah, they're all right. They're
Yeah. You was in Taiwan when we talked, and now you're back in Florida getting ready for tonight. And I'm extremely happy for you. I really am. Just for that level, you're a former NXT superstar. You're breaking barriers from to MLW. You were the first woman to sign for MLW. Had a couple of matches there, and now you're just skyrocketing all the way up. That's what's up.
trying to, especially after COVID and stuff. It's nice to see like things running again. So hopefully it keeps going. I've been gone.
Absolutely.
Oh, so it's nice to be back. And what better way to be back than to get on AEW Dark?
Yes. And speaking about moving on up and everything else, there was a lot of obstacles that you were going through, especially before you entered wrestling and even MMA, because you're also doing MMA as well. Uh, so, what got you to be involved in combat sports?
Honestly, it was a lot of things that got built up over the years that made me decide to go into it. But I was bullied growing up for most of my life, and that always got me interested in martial arts. So I watched a lot, and just having like a Chinese background, I grew up watching a lot of like kung fu fighting movies. So there was a lot of like Jackie Chan stuff, some Jet Li stuff, like lots of different, and even some people, you know, that I don't even think most Americans know, but there's also like Andy Lau and all that. There's a lot of like uh, martial artists and fight movies that were really big back in the day that I would watch all the time growing up and wish that I was able to do it. And then, of course, pro wrestling was a influence on my life back when I was watching WCW and WWF because my grandma was the one that got me into it. So that was always a thing of being interested in combat sports, interested in wrestling. And so eventually I ended up going to Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. And when I got into that, that's what led me to MMA. And MMA is where it ended up leading me to pro wrestling and WWE because luckily, you know, I got lucky that I was able to go into it because I really didn't have the confidence to. But it was a series of like negative events that led me to where I am now. And at the time, it was negative, but looking back, I wouldn't change it for the world. I'm so glad all the things happened the way it did. And one of the main things that eventually like got me to go do it was because I almost got gang raped. Like I got led down dark alley by like five dudes. They like trapped me there, and I was lucky I got away. And there was a lot of gang rapes going on in that area at the time. And, you know, I'm sure if I wasn't on the phone with my friend at that time, I definitely would have, gotten drug out of my car and most likely raped and killed.
Mm,
Um,
I'm sorry
so
to hear that. I'm glad that nothing happened to you, but that is a scary situation to
yeah,
be in there. Absolutely.
it scared me so much. It made me change my life. It scared me so much to a point where I told myself I need to protect myself. I need to figure out a way to like do self defense. So I went into martial arts, but I didn't know which one to go into. There were so many things, but all I knew was I've always been interested in wrestling. So I ended up going to Brazilian Jiu Jitsu because it was the closest thing to wrestling. So that's how I ended up there and ended up in MMA. And it was through my MMA career and all the people I was connected to in that industry that led me to WWE. And I got referred over to WWE. They gave me a tryout and I got in. And that started my pro wrestling career.
Mm. But in MMA, you did have a couple of matches. You've won both those matches.
I had four, but
Oh, four.
on
Okay.
it only says two because two of them were sanctioned. The other two was underground.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, two sanctioned matches, two underground matches, and a bunch of jujitsu matches. So yeah. Uh
But you gotta be proud. You went out there and you won your matches. I mean, that's honestly because I trained for Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, right? I never competed, but that was something in the army that they were transitioning to hand to hand combat, and to see people go into the octagon, that's a lot of. You gotta be courageous. That's not for everybody. For you to do that, that speaks volume, really, for you to be able to step in there and handle your business. And did you ever consider maybe going back to MMA and make it a career there, or
no, I'm so
no?
far deep into pro wrestling at this point.
Mm-hmm.
There is definitely a limit in MMA. It's like you gotta be in your prime. My age is getting up there. My body's hurting. My thing is definitely pro wrestling, and I've been doing it for a while now. And I realize this is the best of both worlds.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I get to do my martial arts side, but I also get to do the performance side of things because before martial arts, I wasn't just a martial artist. Like I started with as an artist, like
Mm-hmm.
drawing, painting, design, like sculpture, like every type of art. I went to art school, so um, it was very much art is a very much part of my life, and it just so happened that I love all forms of art, and this really allows me to be able to enjoy every aspect of art in one thing. So now with pro wrestling, I get to do the design, the fashion design of my outfit. I get to do the choreography of my whole entrance. I get to go do the martial arts side and add it in my matches. I get to do my music and add it for my entrance. Like literally every type of art I get to do. And then all the merchandise, like, it's nice I get to do the artworks for that too. I have full creative control over everything that I've wanted to do because I feel like as an artist, you're constantly wanting to be creative. And at least for me, one thing isn't enough. I can't just, as much as I love to draw, I can't sit there all day and draw, especially now. I don't have time, patience. Like, I have several things that I like to rotate in and out with my art. So, having to do all of it, it really is, fulfilling for me as an artist because I see myself as an artist first beyond anything.
Okay, so as an artist that you are, where did Zeta Zhang? Where did that name come from?
So Zeta Zhang came from well, when my entrance originally at WWE, when I came out, I ended it with like two peace signs because I wanted something that was Asian, that people would understand, like, oh, this is very Asian. And at the same time, I was a babyface. So it was like a cutesy Asian thing because Asians love doing this pose, as stereotypical as it is. But, stereotypes happen for a reason because a lot of it is true. But it is a very Asian pose. So I wanted something that isn't so far Asian, but also like just enough because my friend Xylee, she's from China, so she has her Asian character, and then because I'm Asian American, I'm a mix of the two. So I kept my hair blonde, um, but I wanted enough Asianness in me to let people know, like, hey, I'm both. Culturally, I'm both. So with the peace sign, I wanted to come down with a symbol. So I ended up come down, and it would be a Z. So anything that these two peace signs would turn into. So when I pitched names for NXT, it was either W's, M's, A's, V's, or Z. And so Zeta Zhang was one of the names I pitched, and they just took the name Zeta and ended up using that. But Zhang, very Chinese sounding last name, and at the same time, it's a very common last name in China, as well as a very easy to rhyme last name. So when I give promos and what, I could literally
Of
throw
course.
so many
Yeah.
words that rhymes with Zang,
Mhm.
bang, dang, like so many things you could use. So Zeta Zhang was the name, but they surprisingly, fun fact, they chose Zeta because surprisingly Nia Jax had pitched the name Zeta years before, and they didn't give her that name. So
Oh,
I guess when they saw, they're like, "Oh, Zeta," they ended up giving me that name. But Zeta, I also picked because I've like all the names I picked, I had hope that WWE would give me Zeta. And I was so glad when they came back and told me Zeta. I'm like, that's perfect because in my mind, I was hoping for that name. And I also picked Zeta because I've always liked any name that sounded with like a Z sound in the beginning.
mhm.
Um, I don't know. Z sounding names just sound cool with me. Like if I ever had a boy as a son, I would name him Xander. Like Z just sounds
Oh.
so cool to me. It just sounds that it's not common. It's like common enough, but not too common.
Right.
So
I mean, took in my name. My name is at the end, so you know, I
yeah,
kind of like it at the zzz, you
yeah.
zip right through. But yeah,
Like
absolutely.
me. Also on top of that, I I was thinking Zelda and Xena the Warrior Princess. So it was like a perfect little combination because the Zelda, uh, being that, I'm not super in the gaming industry, but it's something that I've always been interested in. I wasn't allowed to game growing up. I had strict parents growing up. I wasn't allowed to do video games. But gaming was one of those things I was really into. And honestly, I actually wanted to go for video game design for my career when I was in college. It
Really,
didn't work out, but I actually, surprisingly, I wanted to go to Full Sail University in Orlando, which is where WWE is,
of
at
course.
the time. But that's a private school, first of all, very expensive, and I'd be paying out of state tuition, very expensive, so I couldn't afford it. But they had a really good video game program there at the time. They probably are still up there. I'm kind of that's been forever since been a while since I've been in college. So like I want to incorporate something like, okay, there's the video game side of me. Then there's also Xena Warrior Princess because I'm thinking of a warrior, and also that's a popular show growing up, and I actually watched it as a kid.
Mm,
So it was a nice mix of everything. So that's how I came up with Zeta.
okay. So, have you always been the baby face in pro wrestling?
Pretty much. I've been heel a few times in Florida, just because I wanted to do something completely opposite of what was expected of me.
Hmm.
Is because in NXT I was basically babyface all the time, except for one time I was heel because Mandy Rose was injured, and so I took her place on a road loop. So that was the one time I was heel, but all the other times I was a babyface. And so in Florida specifically, I wanted to give the opposite because everyone saw me as a babyface in Florida at all the NXT shows. I was like, all right, for Florida show specifically, I'm gonna go and be heel. But you know, usually I get booked as babyface.
Okay, but so let's say if I book you as a heel, like what kind of attraction would you give the fans? Like what? Because there's different varieties, right? Like in WWE, you got Roman Reigns. He's the head of the table, right? He thinks that he puts everyone's food, helps everybody make their money, this and that. And if they don't acknowledge him, then you know, he's gonna take care of things, right? What about you? If you was the heel, let's say in AEW they make you heel, what kind of person would you be?
I would most likely be the truest to myself because wrestling is like a part of you. It's an extension of you, but to a bigger extent, right? So I would take my experience in my life of being bullied and turning it as a heel turn instead of becoming someone that's fighting for justice, fighting to, protect myself and protect others.
Mm-hmm.
I would just be on the bitter side. So think about it as a person. If someone was bullied in real life, someone that's getting bullied all their life, they could go either way. They would either be an advocate for people who've been bullied,
Mm-hmm.
or they would end up being the opposite and being the person that's like saying, like bitter at the world, saying they hate everyone just because they bullied them. And instead of doing something about it, they would end up just getting mad about it and end up bullying other people in return subconsciously. Because, in psychology, they say the ones who hurt others is because they're hurt themselves. And even with heels, like people aren't just born bad for no reason. There's stuff that made them bad to begin with. It's just
Absolutely.
how you went about it in your life and the decisions you made to make you that way. So that would be basically the other universe of my life if I ended up being negative and started thinking like, oh, why me? Everyone's so mean to me. Well, screw that. I'm just going to be mean back because they deserve it. And my views would be more negative, and that's how I would treat my heel character. Is I would go bully other people, ironically, because I'm
You're gonna do one of these. All right. I got you.
back.
You're
I'll
gonna
be
be a dangerous heel. I could see that already.
It would be funny too. I would do all the bullying stuff. Think of all the like bully stuff that you see in movies, like wedgies and freaking
Oh,
putting your head down the toilet for swirlies. Man, I'd be doing all that.
well, I've never seen that done. I mean, I've seen people get bullied. I got bullied when I was a little kid myself, until my brother, he saw what happened, and then, at home, the way I was raised, if there's somebody hits you, you hit them back, and if you don't, then you get in trouble at home anyway. So it's like I'd rather not get in trouble at home and handle my business. So that was my push. Um, but I respect that, and I like your ideal of being a heel and that perspective. And you're right; it's always better to be true to yourself than trying to pretend to be somebody else, right?
Exactly.
Um,
Take your story and you just change it up a little bit and think about the alternate universe of what would happen if your life went a different way. And my life could have easily went that way. I could have easily became bitter. And honestly, I did kind of become like that for a brief time, like several months back when I was in like 7th grade. Being
mhm.
bullied all the time. I found myself bullying other people for a few months, and then I felt bad. I was like, man, I'm turning into the people that I hate. I'm turning into the bullies that were bullying me. So then I stopped and I caught myself. But, I could have easily kept going down that road and become a bully myself.
Well, see, that's what you get for having a good heart. So you was raised right. It's just, we all learn from we all learn from our mistakes, right? So, and we all have to go through something in life to better ourselves, because if not, we can't stay naive all the time. So, and I'm glad that the direction the path you're going, um, it's an excellent way. And like I said, I appreciate everything you have done, especially being open here on our show to share not only with me, but for the viewers and listeners as well, because we can all learn from each other. Going back to wrestling, your favorite moves that you had mentioned it before was brain buster, right?
It's
And a northern light bomb, right?
it's a Northern Lights bomb, yeah.
Uh-huh. So northern light bomb. Now, I don't know, I don't remember asking you this, but if I did, if you could remind me, how'd you get that name and why did you call it that way?
So the Northern Lights bomb is the original name of the move, but it's my finisher, which is called the Zang Bang. It's a variation of the Northern Lights bomb. So I ended up getting that move because when I was at NXT, one of the coaches, Steve Carino, shout out to Steve Carino, he actually gave me the suggestion of doing it because I wanted a hard hitting move. Because my style is more strong style. I don't really do all the flippy stuff. Um, Although I enjoy all aspects of wrestling, but it's just not really me. I've always been a ground girl. I've always been a grappler. So it's a perfect move where I get to incorporate my striking to lead into a throw. So I do a lot of throws, a lot of grappling, and at the time, no one at WWE was using it as a finisher. So he suggested to me, and then I just tweaked it and made it my own. So Northern Lights Bomb is, yeah, my finisher and also one of my favorite moves to use. It's devastating, but at the same time, very safe.
Okay. So that's going to lead into tonight's match that you have, right? And this is from Hector Vasquez. He's also my co host here in the HHW show. He'll be here tonight. So we do our recap of Raw and SmackDown. But what do you know about Thunder Rose that helps you prepare for this match?
Um, I've seen her wrestle. She definitely has a nice mix of stuff that she does. And she's a veteran, she's been doing it for a long time. And I was really excited to be able to have her as my first match there. Um, it's a short match. I'm not going to give too much away because it airs tonight at 7, 6 Central Time. So, like, I want y'all to watch. Um,
Oh, we will.
but
We're going to be watching.
yeah, not much away, but you know, we've always been cool with each other. Like we've seen each other, we've met each other on the indies and stuff like that. And so I was very excited to be able to wrestle her. Um, Very short match, unfortunately, and we freestyled a lot of it. So it was a lot of on the fly stuff. So I haven't seen it. I'm hoping it looks cool. Well, I mean, I guess about to find out. So we'll all be seeing it for the first time, including myself.
Oh, really? All right. That's what's up.
Yeah, I'm
um, I liked how you brought up the indies because I've experienced, and look, I've been a wrestling fan going on over 40 plus years, right? And I've always watched it on TV whenever they come down here at Hartford, Connecticut, Exo Center. I'm always there. And I never once experienced the independent promotions until 2 months ago when things started opening up here in the state of Connecticut. And Northeast Wrestling is an independent in our local area. And I went there for the very first time, and I actually had more fun, more engaged with the superstars there than I done in a professional level. You know, so how did that make you feel when you were in the indies? Is there a difference, or when you move up, do you feel more attached to the fans? How's that work as a superstar?
Um, I honestly like both of it. They're different in their own way. There's pros and cons to it. Of course, you know, I want more eyes on me, so of course I want more TV time. Every wrestler does. But the cool thing about the indie circuit with the smaller shows is it's more intimate setting, so you can interact with the fans more. You could kind of, let loose more, and there's no time limit, and that's another reason. Like, um, my match for that's airing tonight, there's definitely it's a short time limit, so unfortunately, that's what sucks with TVs is like you have a certain time, and when it's time to end it, it's time to end it. You just got to end it. So you can't be as fluid with all the stuff that you want to do. But in the indie circuit, if they give you 10 minutes, you might go 12 minutes. You get an extra 2 minutes, which is nice. You do it by feel, you do it by crowd reaction. It's a lot more interactive. Whereas for TV matches and whatnot, you're playing to the camera, you're making sure like they get your angles, and yeah, you interact with the crowd, but the thing is, the main point is still that camera, because the camera is your crowd, because it's the people sitting home watching you. That's,
It's the
you know,
people being on there on Twitter or Facebook or any other social media making all these comments and see if you're trending. Um, I'm that guy too, But
yeah. So it's very important.
mhm.
It's different, but it's also kind of the same. It's just smaller versus bigger. And I feel like with TV, of course you interact with fans also, but it would be more so like the fan that's sitting up front. They have the more opportunity to interact because they're right there. Whereas on an indie match, you have the time and the space. It's the space, and also everything's smaller, so you can get to the back of the room a lot faster. If I
Mm.
were on the TV match, I have to go through the whole stadium to get to the back. That's just impossible. That would take like 5 minutes just on its own. There goes like half the match. But like in a smaller setting, everyone gets to see you. Every seat in the house is a seat in the house. Every seat
Right.
in the house is the best seat in the house. It's right there. And
Hmm.
so you literally just walk a few steps over and you're right there where the fans can interact with you. So that's the difference between the two. And they both have their pros and cons for sure.
You're absolutely right when you say like no matter where you sit in the indie sport, right? It's like it's still considered front row.
Yeah,
Um,
pretty much.
right, absolutely. It's better than the XL Center. I think over here they did it inside a gymnasium, um, and the way they set it up. I mean, no matter where you sit, you get to see the match and everything else, unless they throw them over the ropes, and then you're looking in. And even the ring announcer sometimes gets involved, which I like. Um, but nothing but respect, and I know the hustle and everything else to sell merchandise is go, goes a long way as well. Tonight against Thunder Rose again on YouTube, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Um, man, I am so happy, and I'm hoping that there'll be more of this for you at AEW. And it seems like
Hey,
everyone's
make
jumping
sure
ship
y'all
to
comment.
AEW.
Make sure y'all comment underneath that YouTube video. Have it live streaming because they
Yes,
pop up more.
yes, indeed, and
We get to show more stuff. So hopefully we'll get longer time or, whatever.
absolutely, absolutely. Hey, as always, um, I like to give my guests the last words and everything else. And the floor is yours. Any messages that you want, I mean, you can include AEW, anything you would like. The floor is yours. What message would you want to give to my audience?
Again, shout out to everyone. Thank you for listening in and following my career. And make sure tonight, y'all constantly tag AEW, tag all the people. Sean Dean, the captain, Cody Rhodes, Brandy Rhodes, Tony Khan. Let them know you want to see Zeda Zhang, bring the bang at AEW. Because, yeah, the goal is definitely be awesome to go over there. All my friends are over there. They got such a cool vibe. I love their products. So I'm excited, like it would be nice to be back over there. Then I can be on TV screens. And on top of that, I would be traveling more often to a town near you. So make it happen, y'all. But that, and also make sure you check out my Instagram. It has all my bio on there. So all my other links to like TikTok, my YouTube, like Twitter, Patreon, everything is under my bio on Instagram, which is Zeda_Zhang, ZEDA_ZHANG.
Well, I'll tell you what, all that information will provide it to you on HHWShow.com. Visit there with the latest news of pro wrestling. And of course, if you missed the show, it'll be on HHWShow.com. It's on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and on Twitch. So, Zeda, thank you so much for joining me once again. And I can't wait. All right. So I don't know if I should do this every 6 months. I gotta check up on you. I gotta see what your stats. You know what I mean?
I'm always got stuff going on. I don't stop. I don't. This is literally all the time. I'm always on the go. Boom, boom, boom. Trying to get stuff done. Trying to make history, y'all.
And you continue doing history. Thank you so much. And listeners, don't forget, tonight, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, it's AEW Dark on YouTube. Check it out. And I know my fellow counterparts, which also covers AEW, they're probably jealous right now. They're gonna be like, "Yo, how'd you get Zeda Zhang?" And I'm like, "You don't know. You gotta pay attention."
Damn right. Remember, y'all, tag.
All right.
Put my name in.
All right. Thank you.